Home stretch. We're going to make a Power BI dashboard. I'm Emery. Welcome back to our Mini Data Bootcamp series, where we've been working through 3 sets of skills. So in the first few videos, you learned about some spreadsheet fundamentals. Then we made an Excel dashboard, and now we're on the final step. We're going to make a Power BI dashboard. And this is going to be pretty quick because we already did all the foundational stuff, all the groundwork, all the data cleaning and recoding. In real life, that takes the longest, but then it sets you up for like really smooth sailing when it comes time to make your charts and add your slicers. Okay, so the very first step with Power BI dashboards is you got to download Power BI. If you look in the description down below this YouTube video, I linked to the exact spot on Microsoft's site where you can download it for free. Okay, and the very next thing we're going to do is we're going to open it up. It looks like this. This is the little icon on my computer. And we're going to give it a second to load. And I'm purposefully not going to fast forward through the loading parts because I want you to have a realistic sense of like just how long the loading takes and kind of what to expect so that you don't freak out if yours takes a moment, like mine just took a moment. Okay. On this opening screen, it asks us to select a data source. And our data set, that combined data set that we've been looking at, it's in Excel. You can link to tons of others, okay? You can click this plus and see like all the places you can link your data to. We're gonna do Excel workbook, and then we're gonna find the Emery Data Bootcamp file that we've been working in. Go to open it up, and it's going to give us a list of all the sheets in that file, which is quite a bit because there's 3 different data sets plus combined, plus tabulations, plus a dashboard. There's all sorts of stuff. Okay, here it is. Loading. Again, like realistic sense of the loading time that it takes. Okay, here is the file. Here's a bunch of different sheets that are in there. And you're going to use the one called For Power BI, which is basically the combined data set that I've shown you, but it has the first few rows removed, the first few like white rows with notes that I had made to myself removed, so that the data set is just like nice up at the top. It starts in row 1 as it should for Power BI. Okay, so you click on For Power BI and it gives you a preview of this data, but something's wrong here. Do you notice something is wrong? Just like a little bit. It's not that it's been like truncated. It's all the data's there. It's just showing us like a quick preview. It's this. It thinks that this column or variable should be called column 1, but it shouldn't. It should be called ID. It thinks that this column should be called column 2. No, it shouldn't. It should be called first name. If that happens to you, don't worry. That happens in a lot of data sets. You just go down to transform data and it opens up yet another window. That's like the fun part and the headache of working in new software programs is just getting used to all the windows that pop up. And it opens up something called Power Query, which I talked to you about before. When we were merging data sets together, you learned about lookups, VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, XLOOKUP, index match, and I told you that's one correct route to merge data sets. Power Query is also another correct route, but this is a mini data bootcamp, not a 50 years long of data bootcamp, so we can't cover also Power Query in this mini course. But if you have questions about it, like, comment below the video and I can point you to the right resources. Okay, long story short, it opens up the Power Query editor window, and all you have to do is click this first button. Use first row as headers, okay? And then it just like bumps everything up just a little bit correctly. And then you're gonna say close and apply. And then it just like takes a second to do its thing. And why did it not apply? I don't know. I'm gonna click apply changes one more time. Let it all just connect behind the scenes. Usually in real life, I'm just like blasting music while I do this in case it takes a second. Great. Okay. It takes like that many seconds. Again, realistic Power BI dashboard development here. Remember when we made pivot tables, we had a whole list of variables that showed up? It's a very, very, very similar concept here. It's here. It's going to be hidden, collapsed at first, but this is the sheet name that I named it for us for Power BI. And when you open the toggle, it shows you all the columns. I'm going to expand this so we can see those a little bit more. And we don't need all of these because, we're just going to build like a basic dashboard with 2 charts and a slicer on here. But all the names are there. Do you recognize them? Like ID, last name, last comma first. They're just alphabetized. That's a difference, right? Excel keeps them in the variable order, the first column, the second column, the third column. Power BI alphabetizes them, which honestly for like long lists, like the one I have, I really like that. You can also alphabetize Excel pivot tables, but okay, another difference that you probably noticed is the things that are numbers have the little sum symbol, okay? Numbers, 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 numbers. Some of them say dates, and then the rest are categories. So it just gives you a little clue about what types of graphs you might be able to do based on whether it's like a number, a category, etc. Okay, and then we've got the visualizations here, very similar to Excel, where you get to choose the chart you want out of the library. There's more native charts, built-in charts here, but same so far. And then there are some filters, which we're not covering in this mini data bootcamp, but I'm happy to talk to you about that in the YouTube comments if you've got questions about those. Let's just keep it nice and simple. Okay, remember with the Excel dashboards and the Excel pivot tables, I said, first, figure out what your unit of analysis is. Is this a participant level dashboard? Yes. Is it a dollars dashboard like grant making organizations? Not in this case, okay? So you think about like, what's the unit of analysis? It's ID. You grab that and you drag it into values. And remember in Excel, it accidentally summed the numbers and it gave us like something in the tens of thousands, some like weird number. But here it was smart. It's like, hey, you probably want a count. Good job, Power BI. It guessed right. Just like Excel, you can also change it. You just click on the little arrow, very similar to before, and you could like mess it up if you want. You could change it back to a sum. You get that 36,000 number. Don't do that though. Okay, let's keep it as a count here. Okay, so far so good, right? Kind of looking familiar. Now we're gonna pick out our chart type. We're gonna make that same race ethnicity stacked bar chart. So I'm gonna click on the stacked bar chart right here. And by default, it's graphing kind of nothing. It's a rectangle. There's nothing to compare it to, right? It's graphing 187 people as a lonely rectangle. So we have to fill in more pieces here. We're going to drag and drop into these boxes. Very similar to Excel, right? Like being both Microsoft products, you would expect similarities. And I want to emphasize those similarities too, because if you're comfortable with Excel, it's a pretty easy transition to Power BI and vice versa. So it's like kind of like learning 2 programs in one a little bit. Sheets is also very similar. Like if you can learn Excel, you can definitely learn Sheets and vice versa there. Okay, so let's drag and drop. And we're going to do race and ethnicity. Race is going to go on the y-axis. So you get a list of all the races, right? ID is what's graphed down here. That's the length of the bars. And then race is here. And then in the legend, we're going to put ethnicity. And that's going to give us a stack, okay? It's not formatted, but it's done. The bones are there. Let's build the second one, a donut chart with this one, exercise and physical activity, if they're more confident or not. Not the one above it about how many classes, but this one down below. Okay, so let's click. Right now the chart is selected. So if I make any changes, it's gonna just edit that chart. So you have to click in the like white blank space here so that Power BI knows we're making another chart now. And this one's gonna be ID in values. It already shows a count. And then we're gonna do the chart that we want, which is right here. And we're gonna put exercise and physical activity, I am more confident, et cetera, in the legend. I'm gonna do a little bit of filtering. Some of the people answered blank. So I'm gonna use the filter right here to say, I just wanna show, not the blanks, I just wanna show people who actually answered the survey question. I'm just gonna ignore the 12 people who like didn't do survey data in this case. Okay, pretty quick, right? Again, this isn't supposed to take all day. It's supposed to be like pretty quick to drag and drop. The thinking part of dashboards is definitely what takes the longest, just talking with your coworkers about like, what even do we want to graph? That is never finished. It's supposed to be a living, breathing dashboard. You should be editing, iterating, adding another chart, removing a chart that's not helpful anymore, relinking your data sources. Like, you should be adjusting for infinity, because otherwise it gets stale. It's no better than a 100-page dusty shelf report if you just make it and leave it sit there. It's not useful. Final step, let's add a slicer. So don't have this clicked on, don't have this clicked on, because then it will replace the existing chart. Make sure you're clicked on the empty white space. I'm going to put it up here. You can see I already made some space for it. Click on the slicer visual, which is right, where is it? Where is it? Slicer visual. It is, why am I not seeing it right now? This one right here. Button slicer is good. Perfect. And then what do we want to slice and dice by? Program goes in here in field. And then you get a nice little button. There's 5-ish types of different slicers too. I'll link to a tutorial by another YouTuber so you can learn more about the different slicers and how to make them, how to format them. You can click on the slicer and it controls both of the charts. Okay? So far, so good? The same pieces are there in Excel and Power BI, the same 4 pieces. It's a data set linked to pivot tables, which, although we don't see the pivot tables in Power BI, those calculations and tabulations are taking place behind the scenes. Data set, summary tables, pivot charts, a slicer or two. Feeling okay? Bones are the same. I wish we could have been together for like hours and hours or days and days, but this is just a mini data boot camp, right? It's the highlights from that 2-day class that I taught. If you've got more questions, again, comment down below the video. I am happy to help you out.